Hello everyone. Today we will be discussing something which I have been planning to discuss for a long time. I think this has been 2 years since I uploaded something on my channel. I think going to be my second video, so there's not going to be any editing or any such thing. So forgive my mistakes and let's get on with it. So the topic of today's discussion is about how to play large PC AAA game titles in India and how you can do that. This is based on my experience and what I have seen other people do, and you will be thinking if you are from some other country, maybe England, you'll thinking that why it's so difficult. You just need to get a PC, you just need to get a console, and you can start doing it. Well, it's not so simple because the prices in India of gaming laptops and consoles is quite high, because the currency conversion also is very the price of the games is very high due to currency conversion. Also, the salaries are low, so in all, it's not a very easy thing to play these large games in India because of the hardware requirements and the internet requirements. Internet speed is also quite slow in India. So how to do it? How you can play AAA game titles in India? How you can do this? So for doing that, the rule number one is do not get a laptop. I will ask you not to get a laptop. If you are planning to buy a laptop due to just because you want to play games on it, don't do that. If you're buying a laptop because of something that you want to do your work or use some animation work or something, then I will say that keep a budget of rupees 40,000 or 30,000 for gaming. That will be your budget for gaming. That much money is required. You must take out separately. That money you have to throw above your laptop. Like if you're buying a 40,000 rupees laptop which will do everything for you, um, then you need to throw the extra 30,000 rupees so that you're able to get a laptop which can run your heavier games well. I have seen that there inspired models in the range of 70,000 are able to run games. As of now, the graphics requirement for most heavy games is like 4 GB dedicated graphics memory and 6 GB or 16 GB of RAM. If you can get an SSD, it's better, but SSDs only affect the loading time of the games. Even if you have SSD but you have low RAM, then your SSD cannot. Most SSDs, if they're some SSDs are very fast, so they can kind of like uh, act as a RAM, as an additional RAM, but mostly they can't. Also, I have seen a kind of loadout in which you have 500 GB hard drive, 8 GBs of SSD, and 8 GBs of RAM. That's also not very useful. It's very important that you have the right specification of the virtual graphics card and the right specifications of your RAM. RAM is 16 GBs these days. 32 GBs is not coming in now. It's not coming in 2020. So you can rest assured. 16 GBs of RAM and 4 GB dedicated graphics memory, and make sure that you do not buy an AMD graphics card. Cards are good cards, they're not bad, but for gaming, the biggest company is Nvidia. So always try to get a laptop with Nvidia card. If you can find a cheap AMD card which is equivalent, then go for it. But make sure that the AMD card is equivalent to the card which can run. If you have uh, a GTX 960 or something like that, then definitely most games will run upon it, but they won't run on like ultra graphics. Laptops will never get you ultra graphics. If you want ultra graphics, then you have that kind of MSI laptop 90,000. That's like a nine. It oscillates between 90 to 85,000 with the MSI laptop, which is sold in India on Amazon. You can buy the MSI laptop. Then MSI doesn't have that good warranty and all these things. So keep that in mind. It's quite a costly laptop. Instead of doing like buying a laptop, I will suggest you, if you're playing big games, then I will really suggest you to buy something like a PlayStation or an Xbox for your TV. Not only you will get better resolution, higher screen, bigger screen, you would also be able to play games. Like if you buy a Xbox today, you'll be able to game comfortably on that Xbox for 2 3 years, and you'll be able to play big titles. The laptop specs, they age up very quickly because laptop is not made keeping in mind just the games. Okay, there are some gaming laptops which are minded for games, but still most of the times they are focused on other things also, like editing, like animation. But your gaming console, when your gaming console is being developed, is just being developed for one and only one purpose, which is games. Okay, and also gaming consoles like Xbox and PlayStation also give another advantage, then you need not buy. It's a very trivial advantage actually, because in Amazon Fire Stick or a Chromecast just costs rupees 4,000 or something in India. Uh, you can say, if you want to say, like $80 or something. So it's not very costly, but it's a side point that they can play your YouTube or your Netflix on your channel, on your TV, sorry. So you can do that. That can you can also do with the Xbox or PlayStation. So first thing, I recommend you to buy a gaming console. If you want to play heavy games like RDR2 or God of War, these kind of games you want to play, then I will really recommend buying a gaming console. If you are interested in just playing games like Fortnite maybe, then do not spend a gaming console. If 50,000 laptop with like a good graphics card and like above 8 GB of RAM, very important. 4 GB RAM is not able to run Fortnite, is horrible. Don't ever think that, though in Epic Games website they say that the minimum requirement is 4 GBs, but no, it's wrong. 4 GB is not the minimum requirement. Minimum requirement is 8 GBs. At 8 GBs it will run smoothly. You don't need 16 GBs of RAM for running Fortnite, but 8 GBs is the minimum, and 16 GB is not that useful. It won't make your gaming experience that much smoother. If you have 16 GB is good. These days having 16 GB RAM is important. But if you have a console, of course Fortnite will run butter smooth on ultra graphics, no problem. But always remember that it is not the same point. Like I think we have currently Xbox One S, I think, running right now. This is One X, then 360. So 360 won't run games these days. Okay, you need the latest console. Even consoles have an age. You cannot bring a 2014 console, let's say it should run 2019 games. 2017, 2018 console can run. For example, PlayStation Pro, which came out 2016, 2017, I think. Yeah, mostly I think PlayStation Pro came out in end of 2017. I'm not sure. Okay, you do look that up, because PlayStation Pro, and even that has got, I think, got some versions. So you buy the latest. Do not fall for like reselling or those really broken things in India. India is like, you cannot trust things like eBay, etc. You cannot trust that in India. Those would be just broken consoles, nothing else. So just buy it. I think 30,000 is the price for the latest console, Xbox, or you get a game free. And yes, pay attention on the game free, because games are costly. Games are like 3,000 rupees. Games are there. So buy the bundle which you like. Like if you want to play RDR2, buy that in the bundle itself. So that these games are very big. Like even RDR2 is so big that you can like play for 2.5 and 3 months. You need not bother about the next game, because it's so big. So much is the gameplay. There's a fun game. That pay attention to the bundle game. Bundle games don't cost you anything additional. They're just like free with the console, and most sometimes they even come with a CD or a preloaded. Like sometimes they're preloaded into the console. Sometimes they come with CD. Sometimes they have to be downloaded, and that brings me to the second part of my video. This second part is that games are very expensive. Okay, let's be real. Games are very expensive. So what you can do to avoid such a high cost for games? One thing is looking for sales and discounts. Like you have Steam, Origin. On computer there are discounts. Then there are discounts on Xbox Store. Especially buy games when there's Christmas. Every December, between 25th December to 1st of January, many games have like 50% off, and that means like the game which will cost you 3,000 usually will cost you 1,500. It's a big discount. It becomes more affordable, more buyable. You can also buy games around Halloween. Sometimes some Easter discounts come. So be on the lookout for sales. Being on the lookout for sales is very important. And then you can look for subscription services. You have like PlayStation Plus on PlayStation. You have Xbox Live and EA Access, EA Access and the EA Access Premier on Xbox, and you have the Origin Access Premier and Origin Access on your PC. Now Origin Access and Origin Access Premier give you unlimited access to Electronic Arts games without the DLC for all games. They do not include the DLC for all games. Like Sims 4 in Origin Access Premier, which is like $10 a month, they only give you 2 DLCs. And it's a bad game, because without DLCs, Sims 4 is nothing. Sims 4 is useless without DLCs. So make sure that the DLCs are included of the games you're trying to play. If you're trying to play FIFA or something, I would really recommend Electronic Arts Origin Access or the Origin Access Premier if you don't mind playing FIFA 18, when FIFA 19 is running, you can just take region access, just $5 a month. Same is true for Xbox Live. I think Xbox Live is, how much it is, I don't know, it's like $10. Yeah, no, Origin Access Premium is $10, $15, and Xbox Live is $10. So you can buy Xbox Live and you have a lot of Xbox Live games included. You have Sea of Thieves, Forza Horizon. But remember that like the electronic your EA Access, Premier, and Xbox Live are only available on Xbox. The only subscription service on PlayStation is PlayStation Plus. I don't know much about it, but I know that it is not that attractive, it's costly, and it's not that attractive. The games on PlayStation Plus are not that good. So look for subscription services and also look for discounts and sales. They are sometimes even 75% off. Like once on FIFA 19, I saw maximum 75% discount on Origin. So it's like, yeah. Third point is that data connection. I've seen like many people in India suffer with, like in England we have very high speeds. In England you get speeds which are like 20 Mbps continuously. So games don't take time. If you are playing in a sufficiently big town, if you're not living in a village somewhere corner of the earth, then you usually get a very good internet connection even with mobile data, and Ethernet connections are insanely fast. So I will recommend in India, especially if you do not have a quick Wi-Fi, then good quick mobile internet, because mostly I've seen these days they get mobile internet, they make just hotspot from the mobile and then use the internet. So it's more economical using the internet this way. But I will recommend getting a broadband connection. This is my third point: getting a proper broadband connection from Vodafone, from Airtel. They provide good speeds, and you will be able to play not only for downloading the games. Games are huge, but you also need these connections for your for playing multiplayer games, because these days like games like Fortnite, if they're multiplayer, they require high speed internet connection, especially in India where ping is many times low. So you do need a very good connection to play multiplayer games. So these are the 3 points. First point is, do not spend, if you're spending on a gaming laptop, be ready to pay up at least $1,000 or more in India for a proper gaming laptop. And do look in its specs, and your RAM and your graphics card is very important. You have, if you take an Intel laptop, I will say i5 will do. i7 is not needed. i5 if you run all the games you want usually. Sometimes for some games the need for speed, it does need i7. Do look in your specs very clearly. Specs are very important. Even the micro details of the specs are very important. And if you're buying a latest console, you're safe. It will run most games smoothly. uh, in co- in consoles, the plus point of Xbox is like they have more subscription services, but Xbox customer support is not good in India. You have PlayStation, which is a Sony company, so customer support is better. Warranty services are better for PlayStation. Second point is, look for sales, look for subscription services for paying for games. Games are really expensive due to currency exchange. You do take care of that. And third point is, make sure that you have a good running internet connection. I will recommend an Ethernet connection, what you mean broadband, and just have that. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the video.